Is Ben Whitaker a real fighter or is he a fraud? Is he style over substance? Is he all sizzle and no steak? Is he smoke and mirrors? In my last video, I asked a question to you guys. I said, did he quit in his last fight against Liam Cameron? And the response was overwhelmingly yes. Many of you not only said that he quit, they labelled him a fraud, they labelled him a charlatan, whole host of derogatory names. So I'm going to address those claims in this video. I'm going to give my take in it, and then I'm going to ask you to give yours. Is Ben Whitaker a real fighter or a fraud? So let's talk a little bit about Ben Whitaker very quickly. 27 years old, nicknamed the Surgeon, former top amateur. He won an Olympic silver medal at the Tokyo Games in 2020. As a professional, he's had 9 fights to date, 8 wins, 5 KOs, and of course the split decision draw that he had against Liam Cameron. Ben Whitaker is known for his flamboyant style, flashy, very edgy, real swagger. And in, I think it was February of this year, he fought a French guy. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but he fought a French guy. I was actually at that fight. And turned in a really good performance, turned on the swagger, all the showboating, stopped the guy in the 5th round. And there was a couple of moments in that fight that went viral with him doing all the so-called drunken master stuff. And everybody seemed to, well, not everybody, but a lot of people kind of fell in love with him. There's a lot of people said, listen, man, this is a real Gen Z fighter. He's the next big deal. But there were quite a few others who were less than enchanted with that. A lot of people found it a bit crass, a bit disrespectful. So I think even then you could see he was becoming a bit of a polarizing figure. So on the one hand, a lot of people was excited by it. On the other hand, a lot of people were less so. And so to his next couple of fights he had, where he did look good, but maybe not quite as good. So you could already see that there were people asking certain questions. Then, of course, he had the fight with Liam Cameron on the Riyadh card in Saudi, on the undercard to the Beterbiev Bivol fight. Now, that was a step up because Liam Cameron is no mug. A lot of people said he didn't meet the test, man. Liam Cameron, who is a good fighter, I said in my previous video, he's no mug. He put up some stern resistance there. And, of course, we know now that the fight was stopped in the 5th round courtesy of an injury to Ben Whitaker's ankle. But a lot of people weren't having it. They said that he pulled out. They questioned the legitimacy of the injury. Some people called it a fake job. And the whole momentum seemed to shift against Ben Whitaker. They're now calling him, a lot of people anyway, Ben Whitaker. Some are saying he's overrated, he's overhyped. A lot of people saying he's not going anywhere. And then to compound matters, in the days in the aftermath of the fight, Ben Whitaker got caught up in an incident at the airport, Riyadh airport, where he got into it with some fan. I think the fan was asking to take a picture or come up to him, got his phone out, tried to take a picture. Ben Whitaker got upset about that, said, listen, man, you're not taking no pictures of me. Apparently, he snatched the phone out of the guy's hand, threw it on the floor, and the phone smashed. And I think the police got involved. Maybe or maybe not, but that's what I'm hearing. But anyway, not a good week for the Surgeon, I think it's fair to say. But just to offer a little bit of balance on that, it's now been revealed by his promoter, Ben Shalom, that Ben Whitaker did suffer an ankle injury. So, you know, all those people out there who said that it was a complete fake job, that's not true because apparently he has suffered an ankle injury. And I think the promoter also said that he's been carrying a neck injury for quite a while now. So I think it's necessary to me put that out there. So yeah, it's been a altogether difficult week for the Surgeon. And let me just give my personal take on the whole Ben Whitaker situation because I've had a lot of time to think about this and I've tried to be as honest as I can in my appraisal. And I'm going to say straight off the bat that I think there's been an almighty rush to judgment on Ben Whitaker. I think too many people seem too keen to write him off. That's what seems to happen in this country quite a lot. If you remember, they did the same kind of things with David Haye. Remember when David Haye, early in his career, when he fought Carl Thompson, I think that was back in 2004, and he came out with the Page 3 girls and all the razzmatazz. He got stopped by Carl Thompson in that fight, and a lot of people said that David Haye would never amount to anything, or they were very wrong, because he went on to not only be the cruiserweight champion of the world, but he also won the heavyweight championship of the world, and will go down as one of the best modern-day British fighters, I think, in most people's opinion. Daniel Dubois is a more recent example. When he quit against Joe Joyce in, I think it was 2020, or something like that, A lot of people said that he will never amount to nothing. This guy's a quitter. He's got no heart. He will never make it. And now look, Daniel Dubois is top of the world. He's the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. Just had an extremely impressive win against Anthony Joshua. So the moral of the story is don't write people off too quick, especially off the back of one indifferent performance. I mean, let's face it, he didn't lose the fight. It was a technical draw. Ben Whitaker, listen, he's a very talented boxer. Whether you like what he does or not, you have to admit he's a very talented boxer. You simply don't win an Olympic silver medal at the Olympics if you're not good. And if you ain't got the minerals, you wouldn't have made it that far in the GB system. He was on the GB team for many a year. He was one of our best amateurs. He went to the Olympics in a tough division in the light heavyweight, and he came out of there with a silver. That is a very, very difficult thing to achieve, and he done that. So you've got to give him credit for that. He's a good boxer, very good boxer. He's got excellent footwork. He's got good reflexes. He's got very good fundamentals. But I think also, on the reverse of that, Ben Whitaker needs to acknowledge that he's not a big puncher, you know. And what I've noticed about him in recent fights, in an effort to impress, he's going all out to try and knock his opponent out. He's loading up on shots, and whilst he can get away with it at the lower level, when you step up to the likes of a guy like Liam Cameron, who, like I said before, is no mug, who knows what he's doing, you can get found out a little bit. So he needs to rein that in a little bit, realise that he's not a big puncher. And if you're not a big puncher, you need to work on your skill sets even more, your fundamentals, your defence, your things like that. I think Ben Whitaker also needs to work on his physicality, namely his conditioning, his fitness and strength. I think they seem to be missing in his last couple of fights. But then you've got to also acknowledge that he's only 27 years old, which is relatively young for a light heavyweight. I don't think he's reached his physical peak yet. I think light heavyweights mature when they get a bit older. I also think he needs to take a bit of a rest. I think he's fought 4 times now in 2024. We know now as well that he's carrying that neck injury. This ankle injury as well is going to set him back a little bit, so he's got to be cognizant of that. So take a little rest, because it's not just the fights, it's the training camps, the sparring, the intensity, the day-to-day running, all that type of stuff. So he needs to give himself sufficient time to recover from the injuries. I think he also needs to refocus. Apparently he does a lot of promotional stuff outside the ring. I think he may need to rein that bit in a bit, refocus himself. I'm also hearing he's making changes to his team, maybe a new coach. So listen, it's far too quick to write him off yet based on one adverse performance. I think he does have a fairly high ceiling, and I think if he refocuses himself, takes on board the lessons of the last week, I think he can definitely go on to have a very good career in boxing. But listen, that's my take on it. But what do you guys think? Is Ben Whitaker all hype? Has he been exposed? Is he a flat track bully? Is he just a flashy forerunner who lacks the minerals to get to the top? Let me know in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your support. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.